part of the Boundless Audio Podcast Network.
Hello, welcome to the Artist Pivot Podcast. My name is Ayana Majabay, and I am an actress, voiceover artist, mentor, and your host. This show is a bi-weekly conversation highlighting pivots and life lessons from the perspective of artists, those who work in and around the arts, and arts educators. For those listening who don't consider themselves artists, you can pivot too. Everyone possesses the ability to do so. You just have to be reminded sometimes. All of our life lessons have taught us to be better pivoters, and it is my goal to share these life lessons to guide and inspire others. Here is this week's episode. All right, y'all. So joining me on this episode, I am so excited to say, is Keisha Gilles. Did I pronounce that right?
No, Gilles.
No idea. Gilles. See, and y'all, I asked her before. Okay, wait. I asked her before we started, and I still got it wrong.
She did.
Keisha
It's
Gilles.
It's a little French tricky. My parents are Haitian, so
Yeah. Okay. That's it. But she is a theater artist who guides humans as they grow in their artistry through light, laughter, and love. Light for times when we allow the shadows of doubt and fear to dim the glow. Laughter for times when perfectionism and ambition make mistakes serious instead of opportunities to learn. Love for the sensitive soul who honors her and the world by sharing their art. Currently, Keisha is a featured ensemble member in Disney's Aladdin on Broadway. Recently, Keisha began working toward a degree in social work and applying that knowledge to her teaching artistry. Keisha made her Broadway debut in the Book of Mormon. She has also been on tour with the Book of Mormon and Aladdin, played the ghost of Christmas Present in A Christmas Carol at Hanover Theater, BJ in Smokey Joe's Café at St. Louis Stages, and Marta in Company at Playhouse on the Park. Y'all, welcome, Keisha. Hello there.
Hi, everybody. Hello. I gotta tell you, it's like really strange to hear like a professional voiceover artist say your bio out loud. It's amazing.
Oh, yes. Thank you. And I love your bio, too. I was reading that. I was like, come on, light, laughter, and love.
Yes. I mean, it's true, though. Like, I can't envision a classroom where, like, everything is serious. Even when I am broaching serious topics with my students, I find a way to, like, bring in some comedy, bring in a joke, or bring in some light to it because the world has to be balanced, especially for these kids right now who have been through so much in the past couple of years.
Understood. And we'll get more into that as well. But the first question I did want to ask you, if I sent you a text message right now and said, how are you? But you could only respond in emojis only, what would you text me?
I wish I was like looking at the emojis right now. I feel like I would send you like maybe a partly cloudy, like the sun behind the clouds. And then like this smiley face with no teeth. Like I'm just like, which I know for the kids is like awkward, but for us older folks is like just regular happy. Okay.
Right. It's just a regular smiley face.
Right. So I think that's where I'm at. My students used to do this thing where they would like use the weather to describe how they're feeling. And I like love it so much that I keep it. So partly cloudy with a chance of smiles.
Yes. I love that. That's great. I will take that text message of partly cloudy with a chance of smiles. I'm here for it. Here for it. Yeah. So I want to thank you so much for joining me. And I want to start off by asking you to give me a little bit about, your life as an actor, as a teaching artist, and, how you got to where you are now. Because, we've all been through, first of all, our careers in general, and then a pandemic. So, yes, let's start at the beginning.
Okay, let's start at the very beginning, if you will. I couldn't help myself. So I funny enough, was teaching before I was really performing like fully. As a teenager, I started taking dance classes when I was really young. And then part of the program that I was at had like the teenagers teach like the little ones, like, and assist the dance teacher in class. So like I would teach the little babies how to tap and how to plie and all of that. And like, you know, all the things that come along with having 3 and 5-year-olds in a classroom, you know, and helping out the teacher so that she could teach. And also I could get, you know, my bearing in that. And I remember really enjoying that. I really enjoyed, you know, sharing my knowledge with other people. And then I went on to like regular school. I didn't really quite know what I wanted to do. But in high school, I was really lucky to be going to a public school that shared space with a professional theater. So in the summer, I was able to do professional productions. And I remember very vividly seeing somebody get a check and being like, wait a minute, I can get paid for this? And they cautioned me. They were like, it's not a lot. And I was like, I know, but you're still getting paid. Like, I don't have to do some boring office job somewhere that I don't like. I can do the thing I like the most and get paid. And so then I told my drama teacher that I was like, I want to be an actor. And she was like, okay, well, we got to get you ready to get into a conservatory. And she prepped me. And I got into the Heart School and then went to the Heart School, graduated with my BFA. And from, you know, during school, I was doing regional productions. And after school, did a regional production, did a tour, did a ship, did another tour, and it led all the way up to me doing my Broadway debut with Book of Mormon, and then me being back on Broadway post-pandemic with Aladdin. So that's the short version of it. But yeah, all the while I was like teaching to, you know, workshops here and there, but it wasn't like a serious thing until the pandemic hit. And I was like, oh, I really have to like figure out what I'm going to do. I kind of like teaching. Do I want to get a degree in teaching while I'm sitting here, not being able to do my regular job? And then an opportunity at my high school fell into my lap. And it was wonderful and crazy and wild. And I learned through the gauntlet how to teach in a public school system, virtually, hybrid, and in person. During a pandemic, no vaccine. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was wild to say the least. But I came out of that being like, wow, I really love teaching. I love seeing my students catch on to a step, doing something they never thought they could do. I had one student who was like, I don't do leaps. And I was like, okay, you're going to try. And they went and tried. And I was like, look at you doing grand jetés. You say you don't do it.
Right.
Look at you. You know, so having those moments with students and really connecting with them and watching them grow is so amazing. So that's like the longer-ish version.
Yeah. Yes. I got you. So with that, you know, do you think that you would have picked up your love again of teaching if the pandemic didn't happen?
Honestly, no. Like I was teaching some workshops when I was out on the road with Aladdin, but it wasn't a focus of mine. I didn't see it as like a dual career path until the pandemic. And I really saw it as something I would do once I wanted to start a family. Like I would take a break from my performing career and share my knowledge and teach, and then, you know, raise my family and then go back to performing if I felt like it, or stay in the teaching world. I really didn't see it as something that would happen so soon, but it did. And I'm really grateful.
Yeah. Yes. I love that. And I'm pretty sure your students also feel that like gratefulness from you and like, oh no, I really like this. I really like teaching. I really like being here. And sharing my knowledge with you is something that I really love. Like I equally love it as much as I do being on stage.
Yeah. And I think any student, like I know I can tell the difference between, you know, especially both of us have been in, you know, college. You can tell the professors who love it and are there to educate, and the professors who are there because they need to be there. And, you know, no shade to those professors. You know, a job is a job, and sometimes you just have to be in a place that you might not really, you're not passionate about. But it makes a difference in how you learn, right? So if I can be in a space where I really love it and really love the stuff that I'm teaching, then absolutely, I'll be there and I'll be happy, and my students will feel that impact.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And you mentioning that like made me think of like the jaded teacher, if you will. The teacher that didn't like fulfill their dreams or like, oh, I have to teach these, like kids who want to be on Broadway, but I've never been, or I never filmed that Oscar-winning movie, or whatever it was. They're there, like you said, for a paycheck, but you're just like, why? If you don't want to be here to teach me, why are you here?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I'm glad you're not that teacher.
No,
I'm
and if
glad
it,
you love it.
if it gets down to that and I find myself being that person, I'm going to find something else to do, and
Mhm.
hopefully it'll work out the way all of this has been working out for me. And I won't have to worry about, paying the bills. But yeah, I don't want to be that person for anyone.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Understood, understood. And with that, it actually made me think about something that you wrote down for me,
Mm-hmm.
about, we're so used to moving from job to job that during this time, this transition, these new iterations of ourselves during this pandemic, if you will, you know, we're a little less scared. Not saying that we're not scared, but we're a little less scared than our non-artistic counterpart to like move into new jobs and move into new spaces as well. And so my question to you would be, is that something that you're also trying to instill in your students?
For sure, especially after this whole pandemic
Mhm.
situation that is ongoing. Like,
Mhm.
the world is going to be changing. If anything I've learned in my time on this earth is that like things are going to change when you least expect them to, when you really don't want them to. They're going to change, and so you just have to be adaptable to
Mhm.
that change, or you might miss something really wonderful in the course of things changing around you, right?
Mhm.
um, which is why I think arts education is so very valuable and important, because it teaches you to be empathetic to other people who are dealing with changes, and be
Yeah.
like, in an arts classroom, like last 2 weeks ago, I was throwing around a ball with my students trying to get them to learn each other's names, right? Like,
Yes. Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
and what other classroom are you doing that? Maybe in gym, but not really,
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true. So it
Yeah.
gives them the freedom to be like, oh, okay, yeah, hi, my name's Ayana. Oh, that's Keisha. Oh, okay, that's Sarah. Oh, that's Matt. Like, but in that way of like, hey, everybody has to interact. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and here we are all together.
Right.
So what's your name?
So tell me your name, and then also here's another factoid I'm going to ask you to share, right? And to be
Mm.
brave in that sharing. So it's
Mhm.
like, yeah, along the way as actors, we have gotten used to just change after change after change, rejection, all the things that come with this industry. But also there's such valuable tools, which is why, a lot of artists, the pandemic hit and we're like, okay, what else can we do? Like, we have all these
Yeah.
skills. Like, what else can we do? I'm not gonna lie here and say that I didn't have a moment of freak out, because I had to go
Uh,
through that.
uh-huh, uh-huh.
But I was able to sit down and be like, okay, I have all these skills. Where else can I lend my talents? How else can I figure this out? Like a
Mhm.
lot of us had to.
Yes. Absolutely, absolutely. And you kind of hit the nail on the head where it's like we in our industry, in essence, yeah, we know what it is to change and okay, adapt. Okay, I didn't get this, I did get this, or I have to leave now, or I have to like, we're very much adaptable, if you will. So, like you said, getting through the shock first, getting through the pain and the shock and the first like, wait, what's happening? After
Yep.
we after that point happened, then it was like, right, okay, what skills do I have? Wait, no, I know how to do this. I jump from job to job or project to project or apartment to apartment. Like I know how to do this. It's a little different,
Yes.
but I know how to do this.
Yes. Like, my friend had to remind me a lot. Shout out Eileen. But
Hmm.
she reminded me a lot. She's like, you have been running a business for a decade. Like, you can do this. You know how to market
Yeah.
yourself. You know how to specialize. You know how to do all these things. So like, why not apply for all these project manager positions,
Hmm.
and do it that way, and luckily teaching fell into my lap, like I said. But I could still, after this, I'm with Aladdin for, until I'm not,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but should I want to like shift and move careers ever, like I have this wealth of experience that like after all of this happened, I'm like, you know what? I can do a lot of different jobs. I have so many skills and I'm incredibly valuable. Period.
Yes.
The end, you know?
Yes. That I have so many skills and I'm valuable, so I can go do what I want and how I want it.
Yeah. And kind of going back to like getting my students to that place, like I often am repeating myself, which you do as a teacher, but just saying to them, like, don't think about this class as like a way, as like a, you know, simply an extracurricular. You can apply all this knowledge you're learning in here immediately in your other classes. If you got a presentation that's coming up, use your diaphragm to breathe and support your voice.
Yes.
You got, you know, a paper to write, think about all the different places you could reach. We talk about culture in my classroom currently, like, and apply it to the work that we're doing. So they can use that in their other like papers that they have to write, ideas that they have to write. If they have to generate something, they can be creative with their other work, you know, is what I'm hoping gets to them.
Right. Let me give you this. Like you said, you can use, in essence, the skills that you're learning in my class, and you can use them in other classes.
Yes. Like, please do it. Please.
Right. Please. I want you to use them.
I want you to.
In other classes. Yes. Yes. I understand that. Yes. And so I also now have a question about something that you were doing with friends before you joined the tour of Aladdin, something that you didn't think, you were like, am I going to go down this road? Maybe I'm going to go down this road. Okay, I'm going to go down this road. So tell me a little bit about your, your sketch comedy that wasn't kind of in the game plan, so to speak.
I grew up watching your Mad TVs, your SNLs, all those like brilliant sketch comedy shows. And I never saw myself as somebody that funny that could like generate funny ideas like that. And Eileen, shouting her out again. She's my bestie, number one. So she, was like, hey, I'm doing this thing. And on occasion I would perform with them and we would have a good time. And then she was like, if you want to write with us, like come write with us. And I was like, you know what? Why not? Let me try this out and see. And I had the most amazing time writing sketches and developing characters with them. And we were performing stuff at the Pit before the shutdowns happened and before I left for tour. And I was like, whoa, wait, I love this. This is so much fun. And mostly what we're writing about right now is healthcare, because it's important. And, the whole thing started with them when, we were all turning 26 and like getting booted off our parents' insurance. And we're like, what is a deductible? Like, how does this insurance work? What is catastrophic coverage? Why is it terrible? And so now we're just like writing about all, healthcare topics mostly, but it's so important to talk about it and also to like find the jokes within it, right? Like we did a parody of Bills by Destiny's Child about how astronomical medical bills are and asking people to pay your bills, like the GoFundMes and all of that are still happening because our healthcare system hasn't changed. And so through like working with them, I was like, oh, you can like be really mission driven in like the things you write and really specific about the messaging you want to share and like still have fun. So never thought, before I started with them that I would be doing that. And then here I am. I can say I write sketch comedy or I've written sketch comedy,
I love it. Yes. Yes. You are a sketch comedy writer.
I never thought I'd say it. It's so cool.
Yes, it is very cool. But it's that like letting kind of life happen and going, okay, you know what? I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it.
Because you never know.
Yes.
You really never know like what magic you're going to find in those moments. So it's important to, like, I think I said earlier, like really keep your eyes open for those opportunities as things ebb and flow in life, because you never know where that thing is going to come up. And I heard that said to me a lot when I was younger, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, well, and now I'm like, wait, like this is it.
Exactly that. That is exactly that. Where you're like, y'all know what you're talking about. Like growing up, you're like, okay, well, I don't understand. And then you go, oh, that's what they were talking about. Got it. Oh, I understand now.
Yeah.
Yes, just let it
Yeah.
happen. Or say, "You know what? I'm gonna try it, and if it doesn't work, it's probably gonna lead to something else." That was like my springboard to the other thing that I was actually supposed
Yep.
to get to, but I had to try this
Yep.
first thing first.
Yes. So it's kind of amazing. Like I'm thinking about how like I say stuff like that to my students all the time now because,
Mhm.
you have to say it out loud
Yeah.
until they experience it, until they hear it. And
Mhm.
sometimes like I watch them glaze over because they're like, I'm hearing this thing again. Or sometimes they'll look at me like, what is she even talking about? Like, oh no, like she's crazy because I am very goofy as a teacher.
Mhm.
Like,
Yes.
I like want to watch a video of myself sometimes because like I'm a little goofy, a little crazy in the best way. But
Mhm.
but yeah,
Yes.
I do watch them look at me like, Ms. G, I don't know. Ms. G, I don't know. But
Right.
they will know.
Right. Right. They will know. They will come to a point like we have in life and go, "Oh, the light bulb just went on. I
Mm-hmm.
got it. That's what Miss G was talking about. I got
Yeah. Yeah.
it." Yes, yes,
Oh
yes,
my
yes.
gosh, yes. I feel like that's like the challenge, like the toughest thing about teaching too, is that like
Mhm.
you're not going to see all of the light bulbs. Like I have
Yeah.
students who I'm impacting now who like, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years, they'll forget my name. And they'll be like,
Mhm.
oh, that drama teacher I had that one time. Like she said this thing and now I get it, Because I certainly have
Yeah.
a whole list of teachers whose names I cannot remember, but I remember their impact on me. So,
That, exactly, exactly. Like you're planting a seed
hmm
and you may not see it sprout, but when the tree grows, it's gonna be like, "Oh, yeah. It's because you planted the seed. You had an impact on them."
yep, yep.
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, thank you.
Of
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
course.
So, my next question for you would be, what lessons in life are you either still learning, one, or that you have learned, but you're like, I'm really using these lessons right now to like propel me and push me into new stages of my life? Or it could be you have both of them.
I feel like the like looking for opportunity lesson is a big one right now. Like just because
Okay.
it's fresh on my mind.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just like really looking for the opportunity in those downward moments of life because life goes up and down
Mhm.
and sometimes when you're in a low it's really tough to like see the forest for the trees.
Yeah,
You're just lost in the low of
yeah.
it. But really just like trying to find those like shafts of light, like when I imagine myself in a forest, it's on a sunnier day but the trees are making it like dark, but you have those like
Mhm.
really gorgeous shafts of light coming through and just like trying to see what's in those little pieces of light and seeing where it can take you,
Yeah.
which is really easier said than done. It's really easy
Mhm.
to get like lost in the sauce and like lost in that like, lower part of living life. But
Yeah.
if you can like really imagine there is pockets of light in
Yeah.
there, that you can see an opportunity in and find a way to learn something and to grow in
Mhm.
that. And another lesson that is big on for me is that you're always learning. Every
Mm.
breath you take, you are always learning. And if you're not learning, what are you doing? you know,
Ooh,
um,
yeah.
that for me, like if I'm not necessarily learning something new, but
Mhm.
within my craft, learning about that and learning, to deepen my work.
Mhm.
That's still a process of learning something. It's not necessarily new to me, but it is a process that has to continually happen, I think,
Mhm.
to really live our lives, whether it's getting to know a new person and, really learning about them and coming to them with curiosity, or
Mhm.
learning a new skill or deepening a skill you already have. Coming at it with curiosity constantly and consistently is a big lesson for me, specifically
Mhm.
consistency. Like
Yeah.
remembering I got that note in a jury, I think my junior year of college. They were like, "You're
Uh-huh.
so great, but you're not consistent." And I was like, "What do you mean?" I was like so upset about it. And now
Uh-huh.
I'm here and I'm like, oh, like consistency is important,
Mhm. Mhm.
Like I feel like a lot of social media stuff is talking about weight loss right now. And people are saying like, it's all well and good to do a really tough workout all the time. But if you're not showing up like, every once in a while, I mean, but if you're not showing up consistently every day, even if it's like a not intense workout every day, that's all for naught, right? So
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
consistent in your practices and in your goals.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like curiosity and consistency, I feel like they'll get you far. They will
So
get you
far.
so far. Like with
Yeah.
anything you do in life, whether it is weight loss, whether it is a new skill, whether it is, I mean, showing up for class, like you're getting a new degree. Like if you weren't curious and consistent, you won't complete your degree. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Nope.
yeah, like curiosity and consistency are like, you have to have that kind of. I mean, you don't have
Yeah.
to, but
I mean,
you
there are people who
should.
don't, and
There are people, right,
they,
right,
move through the world. But
in a
even in a
different way.
sense, like a different way, but even in a sense, there is something that is consistent for them that, some force that we don't see. So,
Hmm.
you know,
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. Um, and so then I guess my next question would be, and you might have actually already answered this, so please forgive me.
mhm.
But what is it that you are trying to, really instill in your students? So I know we just spoke about consistency and curiosity, so I know those are definitely a part of it.
Yeah.
But also, I can personally say from like my artistic classes, like confidence, creativity, self-awareness, were all instilled in me, but I will say the light bulb didn't come on till later in life. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? So, like,
yeah.
what would you say would be the thing that, like, yeah, I'm really trying to get my students to understand this, but through the arts education, through the arts classes, this is what I
Yes.
want them to get.
Well, in the classrooms that I lead, I, learned over the course of the pandemic when I was teaching at my high school, I got to do a lot of professional development, which was like
Mhm.
very exciting to me because I was such a new teacher and I was like, please tell me how to do this.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
but we talked a lot about social emotional learning. So like
Okay.
all those things that you mentioned, the confidence, social skills, empathy. I really want my students to walk away from my classes in the arts with the ability to understand their own emotions and how to
Mhm.
process them so that they
Mhm.
can impact the world around them in the way that they intend to.
Mhm.
And also understand other people's emotions and processes. Like the other day in my class, we had a discussion about, how we want to behave in our classroom. We like created a list of,
Okay.
brave space agreements or
Okay.
rules for
Yeah.
how we'll be in the space. And, somebody said, should treat others the way you want to be treated. And I was
Mhm.
like, sure, but what if they don't want to be treated like you? And then we had a whole conversation about empathy and how other people might want to be
Mhm.
treated a little bit differently, right? And so
Mhm.
it being important to treat others how they would like to be treated, which is something that was
Mhm.
bestowed upon me during the pandemic. That was not something, that I had even thought about before the pandemic and before being
Yeah.
exposed to social emotional learning and the
Yeah.
castle framework. So having that and being able to give that to students because it has opened so much for me, I'm like,
Mhm.
I have to give that to them.
Mhm. Mhm. That's fair. That's fair. Ooh, I love that. And to say like to treat people the way that they would like to be treated is very interesting because I have always said treat people the way you want to be treated, but with a caveat because unfortunately, a lot of people don't treat themselves well, so they're not going to
Mm,
treat other people well. So it's like
hmm
because I know that I treat myself well, I'm going to treat others well because that's the way I would like to be treated. But if you as a person unfortunately don't treat yourself well, how can you then treat other people well? So that's a very interesting take to say, yeah, treat people the way that they would like to be treated.
Yeah. I think with your example, that's like a super nuanced example and I love
Yeah.
it. Because and that's another thing that I'm like really passionate about is that like
Mhm.
mental health piece to all of this.
Yeah.
Um, but how somebody is internally is not something that we can really know unless they say it out loud, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so part of our conversation in the classroom was like, okay, like, but how do we know how somebody else wants to be treated? They have to tell us, right? Which led us to
Yeah.
our next thing, which was like, you got to communicate, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
over the course of the year, I'm hoping, and it seems like we were in a really bright spot before we had our February break.
Mhm.
But when I'm back with them after this break, like I'm curious to see how the rest that I hope that they got has shifted them and how they feel about those agreements post the time, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Yes. So,
Thank you.
my last question to you would be,
Mm-hmm.
what would be like your nugget of wisdom to anybody, a student, an adult, an artist, a non-artist, just a human being on the streets that you're passing? Like, what would be your little nugget of wisdom to give?
So, I am, like I said earlier, mental health is important to me, and that means boundaries are important to me. So saying no
Mm-hmm.
is important to me.
Okay.
And I say this fully knowing, and the people I love who know me well, who are listening to this are going to be like, "Girl, bye. You never say no." But the thing is, it is so important to say no and have those like healthy relationships with people, because saying no isn't always a bad thing. And it can feel like that, especially as an artist, because you want to like take hold of every opportunity that you get. As an educator, I want to be able to like let a lot of stuff fly in artistic classroom. Like I really want freedom in this space, but I have to say no. And that's less difficult than my own personal like saying no's. I tend to like pack my schedule and try to do every little thing I can every single minute. But sometimes I have to say no, and I have this space in my schedule right now. Like I block out all of my time for me. And if somebody wants to book something during a time that is for me, that's a no.
Yeah.
Because I am reading my book during that time, working on, some creative project that I want to be working on or what have you. So saying no is like my biggest nugget of wisdom. And that is a challenge in and of itself,
Yeah. Yes, I do know, actually. Yes. But also having that positive spin, like you said, because no can always feel like it's negative. But the no is just meaning I have something else on my schedule that's really important, or I'm taking care of family, or sorry, I really want to read my book. So like, that's going to be a no. Can you get back to me next week?
Yeah. I mean, a no, and I've had to like really reframe this for me. No can be yes to something else, right? And maybe you don't know what that something else is, especially if you're job hunting right now. But if you, you're looking for a job and you're searching for a job and you want this certain kind of culture in the office or wherever you're going to be working, and you need a certain amount of pay and this job is not giving you that, you have to say no. I'm still learning that. I've still said yes to jobs that are not quite what I need. But you have to say no. Gotta learn to say it.
Learn to say it, yes. And that's so true. Saying no could very well mean you're saying yes to something else. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You wrapped that up in a nice little bow. Thank you for that. Yes.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. So before I let you go, there are two things. So number one, where can people find you on your social medias and all of that stuff?
So I'm mostly on Instagram, kind of, sort of. Like I don't post a lot. Unfortunately, sorry about it. That's just what I need in my life right now. But it is Instagram. You can find me at _Quiche, like the food. So QUICHE _Quiche, like my name, KEISH. So that's _QUICHE _KEISH. I think that's it.
Amazing. Don't worry. It will go in the show notes. It will go in the show notes, so y'all could click on it. So no worries. And then I must say to you that I acknowledge you, I celebrate you, and I uplift you.
Ooh, thank you for that affirmation. Like,
you're so very welcome.
My soul is warmed by that. I'm going to go into the show tonight like floating on a cloud. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. You're so very welcome. Thank you so much for joining me.
Of course. It's been a pleasure.
Please feel free to visit this episode's show notes for links to get in touch with my guest, as well as a link to rate and review my podcast on Podchaser. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, all you have to do is scroll down to the rate and review section. You can find and connect with me on Instagram at The Artist Pivot to see audiograms, fun facts, and posts featuring my guests. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already to get notified when a new episode is out. And please share this episode with at least one friend. For those who are working on their mental health and well-being, on a journey of facing your fears, or trying therapy for the first time, our show sponsor BetterHelp is here to help you. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist. So you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. BetterHelp makes professional therapy accessible and affordable with 20,000 plus therapists in their network and the ability to request a new therapist at no additional charge anytime. I have found that therapy is a tool to use to improve your life in one of the healthiest ways. So join the 2 million plus people who have taken charge of their mental health with an experienced BetterHelp therapist. So many people use BetterHelp that they are currently recruiting additional therapists in all 50 states. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/artistpivot. That's betterhelp.com/artistpivot. Ever heard the phrase found time? Well, Audible helps you find the time to get more stories and information while commuting, cooking, gardening, exercising, etc. Audible is the leading provider of spoken word entertainment and audiobooks, ranging from bestsellers to celebrity memoirs, news, business, and self-development. Every month, members get 1 credit to pick any title, plus 2 Audible originals from a monthly selection, and access to daily news digests, as well as guided meditation programs. They have podcasts, theatrical performances, A-list comedy, and exclusive Audible originals you won't find anywhere else. Fun fact, if you listened to every title on Audible, you'd be listening for more than 3 centuries. So click the link in the show notes or visit audibletrial.com/theartistpivot to start your 30-day free trial of Audible and listen to that book you haven't read yet or laugh at a comedy special while doing the dishes. Again, that's audibletrial.com/theartistpivot. Using the link lets Audible know that we sent you and a great way to support the show. This episode was edited by Kieran Niemand and produced by me, Ayana Major Bay. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll speak to you soon.